I know why fiction is important. And it's important because it's the only thing in the entire world that allows us to be in the head of somebody who is not us. And when we are reading, when we are experiencing other people's troubles by way of their own consciousness, one of the things that we understand is that the way people are in the world, the way we perceive them to be because of what they do and what they say, is really such a small part of who they are. And if you think about yourself, you know, we all have that best self inside of us, but how often does that best self display itself? You know, the world makes it almost impossible to do that. You know, we're all so vulnerable, we're all so afraid. And in books, we can see both of those things. And so I think that reading fiction makes us better human beings. It makes us more compassionate, it makes us curious, and I am of the belief that curiosity trumps hatred every time, so that when we read a good book with complex characters, we just become better human beings ourselves.
Well, I also think that it's in a strange way, in writing fiction, you can tell more of the truth because, and I've written 3 or 4 memoirs in which I've done everything I can to tell the truth, but somehow it's not like the truth of novels. Somehow you can be, maybe because you feel like, okay, you're telling the story. It's not really something happened to you, and something is released. And I think reading fiction, I mean, I learn about how to live. I've just been rereading again the great 19th century woman writer George Eliot, because you had to use men's names in those days if you were a woman writer. And I read her novel Middlemarch, and I feel like there's more wisdom in that than any book of philosophy, any book of how to live, anything else, and that fiction is the truth.
Yeah, it's that great Faulkner line, I don't have to be, I'm not concerned with the facts, I'm concerned with the truth. Yeah. And the facts can sort of be limiting when it comes to trying to tell complex emotional truths or experiential truths, or, I mean, not to get sort of mystical, but there is you know, we've been telling stories for a very long time. In fact, you know, sort of one of the markers of civilization, or you know, that historians define civilization by, is the moment where we stop telling each other stories and start writing them down. But long before so-called civilization, we were telling each other stories, and they were clearly, I mean, it's not right to I don't think it's quite right to say that they were made up, but they were clearly a kind of fiction. You know, they were clearly a way of imagining the world through story. And I think we do that because, like you say, you get at truths that you can't get to with facts, because you know, all of our personal factual experiences are limited in a way that our imagined experiences aren't. And so it gives us access to that whole the whole world of the imagination, instead of just the world of our own personal histories.